In 2012, Drake released a song titled The Motto, but what most people remember from it is one simple phrase, YOLO. YOLO, short for You Only Live Once, encourages people to live in the moment, enjoy life today, and not worry too much about the future. After all, if you only get one life, why not make the most of it? While Drake helped popularize the phrase, the idea behind YOLO isn't new. In fact, it dates back thousands of years to a school of thought known as hedonism. Founded in the 4th century BC by Aristippus of Cyrene, a student of Socrates, hedonism is the belief that the ultimate goal in life is to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Aristippus taught that since life is fleeting, we should embrace enjoyment whenever possible. The only worthwhile path in life was the one that led to immediate pleasure. In contrast, modern society often promotes the idea of sacrificing today for a better tomorrow, working hard, saving diligently, and enduring the years of effort in the hope of enjoying life later, particularly in retirement. From an early age, we're taught to study hard, secure a stable job, and live modestly so that we can reap the rewards decades down the line. Aristippus rejected this mindset entirely. He dismissed the notion of delayed gratification and instead encouraged people to embrace the pleasures available to them in the present. To him, the idea of suffering now for a potential future reward was pointless. Rather than advising college students to focus on their studies to secure a good job, he would have urged them to indulge in life's pleasures, socializing, partying, and enjoying themselves without worrying about the distant future. Some people indulge in immediate pleasures simply because they are easily accessible. On one hand, this approach can seem short-sighted and unwise. Spending everything on fleeting pleasures can quickly lead to hardship. We've seen countless examples of people losing everything to addiction or falling into poverty due to a lack of discipline and planning. On the other hand, there is a certain logic to living in the moment. After all, tomorrow is never guaranteed. Is it really wise to spend 50 years working a 9-to-5 job, sacrificing enjoyment, only to pass away just before retirement? Even if you do make it to retirement, statistics show that 1 in 4 people will have a disability by age 60, and the likelihood only increases as you age. Knowing all of this, is it still foolish to believe that we should simply enjoy the pleasures available to us in the present? Socrates and many other philosophers of his time certainly thought so. They rejected hedonism, arguing that reducing the purpose of human existence to the mere pursuit of pleasure and avoidance of pain was shallow and vain. This criticism, along with the growing influence of Christianity in ancient Greece, led to the decline of hedonism after the death of Aristippus. However, many years later, Epicurus, now considered the father of modern hedonism, revived and redefined the philosophy. To do so, he began by redefining one key concept: pleasure. For Aristippus, pleasure was about experiencing intense joy and excitement, the rush of biting into your favorite meal, or the satisfaction of that first sip of morning coffee. For most of us, pleasure is often associated with indulgence and gratification. But for Epicurus, pleasure was something deeper, a state of tranquility. Unlike Aristippus, who simply encouraged the pursuit of pleasure, Epicurus believed that true pleasure came from overcoming fear, particularly the fear of death, and the gods. Only by freeing ourselves from these fears, he argued, could we fully appreciate life. Epicurus didn't promote pleasure-seeking because, in his view, humans are naturally wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. To illustrate this, he pointed to infants. Babies may not understand the complexities of the world, but they instinctively recognize two things: what feels good and what feels bad. When they experience something pleasant, they express joy and happiness. When something feels bad, a baby cries because it wants the pain to stop and longs to return to a pleasurable state. At this point, you might be wondering, if we are all solely pursuing pleasure, what about selfless acts? Acts done purely out of virtue or for the benefit of others, without any personal gain? How do we explain those? According to hedonistic philosophy, even seemingly selfless actions are driven by pleasure. The feeling of doing something good, of being heroic or virtuous, is itself pleasurable. At its core, people are still chasing pleasure, just not in the way we typically think of it. Hedonism identifies two types of pleasure: moving pleasure and static pleasure. Moving pleasure is the sensation of satisfying a desire. Eating when you're hungry, drinking when you're thirsty, or resting when you're exhausted. All of these create a pleasurable feeling as you fulfill a need. Static pleasure is the tranquility that follows once a need has been satisfied. It is the calm satisfaction you feel when you are no longer craving anything. According to Epicurus, there is no in-between. The absence of pain is pleasure, and the absence of pleasure is pain. Despite this refined view of pleasure, many people still reject hedonism. The main reason? The claim that pleasure is the only intrinsic value. Think about it. If pleasure is the sole thing of value, then what about finding meaning in life, achieving great things, building deep relationships, leaving behind a lasting legacy, even following religious beliefs or strong moral principles? Hedonists argue that these things only matter because they bring us pleasure. But following religious beliefs, for example, isn't always pleasurable. It often requires sacrificing certain pleasures. Yet, people still do it because they find a deeper sense of fulfillment, one they value more than the pleasure they forgo. If personal pleasure were the sole purpose of human existence, then those who benefit from an unjust system would have no reason to fight against it. Why would someone risk their comfort to fight for others? And yet, people do. Every day, individuals put aside their personal desires to stand up for what's right, even when it costs them dearly, losing family, social status, or personal security. If we were only chasing pleasure, this wouldn't happen. We would be too busy enjoying our privileged positions rather than challenging the system for the sake of others. The thought experiment that challenges hedonism. Another major issue hedonists face is the question of reality. If pleasure is the ultimate goal, then does it matter whether that pleasure is real or imagined? To explore this, philosopher Robert Nozick proposed a thought experiment. Suppose you had the option to be permanently plugged into a machine that would give you unlimited pleasure for the rest of your life. You wouldn't know you were in a machine. You'd simply experience endless bliss. Or you could choose to remain in the real world with all its struggles and pain. Overwhelmingly, people choose reality over the pleasure machine. This suggests that pleasure alone isn't enough. People value something beyond just feeling good. Whether it's meaning, truth, or genuine experience, there is something deeper that drives human choices beyond simple hedonistic pleasure. In the end, living a life that isn't real feels empty and meaningless. Even when offered the most pleasurable experiences imaginable, people often choose real pain over artificial bliss, whatever real truly means. As I mentioned before, the best memories are often a blend of both joy and sorrow. Take Abraham Lincoln, for example. When he returned to his childhood home after 20 years, he found it in ruins. Overcome with emotion, he gazed at the wreckage with tears in his eyes and said, "My childhood home I see again, and am saddened with the view. And still as memory clouds my brain, there's pleasure in it too." This bittersweet combination of pleasure and pain is something that the hedonistic view of life simply fails to acknowledge. Think about graduating high school. The excitement of college and newfound independence fills you with anticipation. You're stepping into a world of endless possibilities. But that excitement is accompanied by a deep sense of loss. You'll miss your childhood friends, the simplicity of youth, your family, and the familiarity of home. The pain of leaving is undeniable, but within that pain, there is also a strange kind of joy. Hedonism is often criticized in modern society because it leads to a dangerous trap, one that's easy to fall into. Pleasure is an unquenchable thirst. When you're hungry and eat, it's only a matter of hours before you crave food again. It's an endless pursuit, one that can never truly be satisfied. If pleasure becomes the sole focus of your existence, it can quickly spiral out of control. This is how most addictions begin. What starts as a simple indulgence can slowly transform into an insatiable craving, no longer about enjoyment, but about the overwhelming need for more. It's a trap that many fall into, sometimes for life. However, that doesn't mean we can't take something valuable from hedonistic principles. After all, tomorrow isn't promised, so why not make the most of today? Embracing small joys in everyday life can lead to a more fulfilling existence. If your car breaks down and you have to walk to school, don't rush. Embrace the journey. Walk with a friend, share laughs, and always part ways on a good note. Craving a cup of coffee? Treat yourself to your favorite drink. You've earned it. Don't put off enjoyment until retirement. Take those vacation days. The promotion can wait. Stay on that call with your friends for an extra hour. One missed hour of studying won't make or break you. While pleasure may not be the ultimate purpose of life, it is undoubtedly a pursuit worth embracing.